All right, guys. We are almost 4 hours into the free agency stream, and so far the Seahawks haven't done anything. So that is a little bit frustrating, but that's actually not even really what I'm mad about. There are rumors that we're talking about getting Trent Brown. I imagine we're going to be linked to Lael Collins if we don't get Trent Brown, so I do think things are coming, but I want to talk about a couple of things that have happened. One thing happened like 10 minutes ago, and another thing has been slowly happening over the last month that really puts a spotlight on some theme that I want to talk about. So, a couple of minutes ago, the Los Angeles Rams announced they are signing wide receiver Allen Robinson for a 3-year deal worth $46.5 million. There's probably some upside in there too, but as of right now, it is a 3-year deal worth an average of $15.5 million a year. All right, $15.5 million a year for a number two receiver. And we know that the Rams went into this offseason with no cap space. And a lot of people said, oh, well, yeah, they won the Super Bowl, but that team's going to suck now. That team's going to suck for a while because they can't do anything. They don't have any money. They don't have any draft picks. They sold everything for one Super Bowl. They're going to be bad. They're not going to be able to do anything. And here we are watching them go out and spend big money on a big time receiver. And I'm not going to say whether or not the deal will end up being worth it for the Rams. Okay, that's not what this is about. I'm not saying they got an amazing steal. I'm not saying they got a top five receiver or anything like that. But the bottom line is they were supposed to be up against the cap, not able to spend anything, and here they are. Not only are they spending something, they're spending big to make their team better. This is not somebody they had last year that they're re-signing. This is somebody who makes them better. Probably somebody you're bringing in to replace Odell, maybe Robert Woods, because both those guys might not be ready for the start of the season. So we're watching the Rams do that. And at the same time, we're watching the Saints. When they came into this offseason, they were 70 mil plus over the cap. 70 mil plus. This morning, it was reported that they are now 30 million under the cap. So they cleared $100 million in cap space in a couple months without making any major cuts or major trades. And now we know the Saints may be in on the Deshaun Watson thing, but either way, they cleared all that space. So you've got these two teams, one of them a division rival of the Seahawks, the other one conference rival, I guess you could call them, and you see how they're doing business. They are kicking the can down the road over and over and over again. They're just kicking it and kicking it and kicking it with no fear for what comes next because they know that the goal is to win a Super Bowl. They will take a bad year or two bad years down the line if it means winning Super Bowls now. And Seattle, completely unwilling to do any of that. They came into this offseason with cap space. We went into this offseason with more cap space than almost any other team in the league, especially once we let Bobby go. And yet here we are. I'm not saying what we're doing in free agency right now is bad. I'm not saying taking things a little slowly right now is bad, but my point is this. This front office completely unwilling to move money around, completely unwilling to go all in, completely unwilling to spend the big money, completely unwilling to push some pain down the line. And you see teams like the Rams and Saints that keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. How are you going to compete with that? How are you going to keep up when you have other teams in the league? And by the way, it's not just the Rams and Saints. There are other teams doing this. The Packers are doing it. Excuse me. I think you're going to see the Cardinals doing it. Once the Rams and Saints stop doing this, by the way, it's going to be other teams as well. So what I'm trying to say here is if you are showing up to a knife fight with a butter knife, how are you going to win? How are you going to win? We are going to a knife fight with a dull butter knife, and we expect to win. The only way you can win with that is if your coaching and front office is so much smarter than everybody else that they can outsmart them. And that's clearly not the case. And I'm not just talking about this offseason. The Seahawks have never been willing to be that team that just decides, you know what, let's spend all this money, let's push the pain out, let's be bad in a few years, it'll be fine because we're going to give ourselves a great chance to win a Super Bowl now. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can expect to compete with teams like the Rams, like the Saints, that are willing to go all out to build the best team possible. And us trying to be a, as John Schneider put it, a pay-as-you-go team. So this is the stuff that I'm talking about. This team always trying to keep it slow, always trying to save their money, always trying to pay as they go, not using a lot of void years, not restructuring contracts. The Saints just managed to create $100 million of cap space in one off season, and I don't think they released anybody of any real significance. I don't think that they had to make major cuts. They just moved money. And they're going to have to deal with that in the future, absolutely. But if they now get Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson leads them to greatness that they never would have achieved with Taysom Hill at quarterback, then they're cool with that. They don't have a problem with that. So this is to the people out there who are really high, still believe in Pete, still believe in John. I just want you guys to look at stuff like this. Stuff like what the Saints are doing. Stuff like what the Rams are doing. They're not magic. They don't have some secret potion that allows them to do this that we don't have. Every team can do these things. Every team in the NFL can do these things. Some teams choose to, some teams don't. And we are one of the teams that doesn't. And again, I'm not talking about this offseason. This offseason, whatever. Right now, we don't have a quarterback. But we've had a quarterback in previous years, and we still weren't willing to do it. And we're a team that often actually has some cap space. All right. Little bit of a rant here, but it's just frustrating to know that this kind of stuff is possible and you have a front office that is scared to do it. That you have a front office that would rather win 10 games every year than actually try to win a Super Bowl and take the risk of potentially being bad a few years down the line. I will 100% deal with a bad year in 3 years if it means a Super Bowl now. Open up that 3-year window for a Super Bowl, take a year off, then try to open up another window. Way better than just hanging around that 10-win marker for forever. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here, but I just wanted, this is a perfect example of the stuff that frustrates me with this front office. And it's why I say, even though I had some issues with the way Wilson was playing, I really wish it was this front office that was being moved on from rather than the quarterback. This stuff, I don't think you can win with anymore. You can't do it. When you have teams like the Saints and Rams doing this stuff, you can't win doing this stuff. All right, see ya.